All right. Hi, everybody. Yeah, technical difficulties on the last feed, so hopefully you catch this one. I'm so excited for my client, Dave Mallory, to just share his story and what he's been doing with mountain mind tricks on his healing journey. And, me and Dave met years ago in Wyoming, working on engines and doing fire and just doing all sorts of awesome stuff. So, if you're going to introduce yourself a little bit, Dave, and tell us like kind of where you were before working with Mountain Mind Tricks, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, sounds good. I was, I don't know if stuck is the right answer or what. Um, and I kind of been following Tom and watching him do his thing for, I don't know, it was like a couple of years.
Yeah, maybe a year or so, 6 months.
And I reached out to him, I don't know, one evening or something, and said that I needed some help. And, we just kind of started working together and just kind of jumping ahead too. But really just like changed just about everything.
Right. And
really helped.
Right. So what was like the first, like kind of what were you like, what were some of the things going on in your life? Like you mentioned you were feeling stuck, but what was like some of the hard stuff for other people that are going through something similar?
Oh, there was a lot of like negativity and I had a lot of anger and stuff built up inside, and really struggled being comfortable like opening up and like really talking about all those negative feelings. And I felt comfortable with you and with Alan and with Cindy.
Yeah.
And it's been like a world of difference since then. And I really feel like I have no issues sharing just about like any of my feelings nowadays with anyone. So
Dude, that's so amazing. And for people that are listening, before I was certified as a master practitioner, I brought in some master practitioners to do the breakthrough session, and me and Dave continued the relationship through coaching and fitness training and nutrition and all that stuff. And we did a lot of NLP together as well. And so what was the breakthrough session like? What was your breakthrough session like? Not like what was talked about, but what was that process like for you, like for other people listening?
it was difficult, and I had to go back and face a lot of demons and stuff that I really wasn't sure that I wanted to face and talk about. But once I did, it was like a weight lifted off my shoulders, and everything felt better. Like there was like clarity and there was peace, and I felt like I could focus again, if that makes sense.
Right. And so was the process easy for you? I mean, as far as the actual release work, like the
No,
actual, no, not at all.
no, it's if you're gonna do it, like you have to really commit to getting rid of everything in there.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's
You have
big.
to go back further, I think, than what you initially think about. Like when you're first getting into it and doing it, you have to. I think, at least with me, there was like um, uh, what I thought was like the start of all the issues, and then just like talking and working through everything, it was like, whoa, there's actually a lot more here that I have to
Yeah.
hash out.
Right. So it was like way, way deeper than you thought. Like the
Yeah.
anxiety or anger, like whatever you think it is for the people listening, it is way, way deeper. And that's what we do with the breakthrough session is we actually get to the real root cause, right? Would you agree with that? That you got down to
Absolutely.
like, and it's usually surprising. Like for me,
It was.
my anger was like, for some reason, it was like my dad smoking around my mom when she was pregnant. Like that was what I was so angry about my entire life. I didn't consciously know that, but the breakthrough session blew that out. It's gone. So
Yeah.
it's so surprising the things that come up, and there's potential. I don't know if you experienced this, Dave, but the past life genealogical stuff that comes up for some people, so it can be pretty interesting.
I don't think from what I remember, I don't think I had to go like quite that far back, but
Hmm.
it was definitely the stuff that I was, kind of hashing out was like when I was like a little kid, and then like maybe a little bit before that.
Right. That's so
You know what I
amazing,
mean?
man. So that's the breakthrough session, right? Like you really are releasing the root cause of anger, sadness, fear, hurt, and guilt. Then we do anxiety. Then, you do the greater problem and really the seed of the whole structure, right? Of what's going on for people.
Yeah.
And then, and then like me and you did a lot of the coaching work. Like we did the fitness training, we did the nutrition training, we did some other NLP techniques, right? Like tell us more about that.
Um. So the fitness thing that was one of the first things that you mentioned, right?
Yeah, I think the first thing was like, hey man, it sounds like you have a gluten intolerance, so maybe let's try that.
Yeah. So I don't want to completely say that I've been like gluten free,
Uh-huh.
but it's been a lot more conscious on my mind of making those good decisions in my life to get rid of gluten and get back to more just like whole foods. Like when you go to the grocery store, like like you're you're told kind of just shop the outside, right? Because that's where
Yeah.
like all like the natural foods are,
Yeah.
and stay away from the middle because that's just like junk and it's all the processed stuff that really causes most of the issues, right?
Right,
So
right.
like you know um, after we started talking about that kind of stuff, I felt it more of like a conscious decision to within myself to just be like, let's try to stick to the outside of that grocery store as much as possible.
Yeah.
And I and also with that, getting better quality food in general, I found
Right.
was really helpful.
So I remember we talked about like the organic, the grass-fed meats, the more vegetables, the more fruits, like and it made a big difference for you, right?
Did yeah. Um, where I was living before, it was it was a food desert. You could almost say
Yeah.
living in. You'd be surprised, rural Kansas. Um,
Yeah.
you'd think is like they're top making all the crops and growing all the food for the whole country, but where I was, there was really nothing
Yeah.
for like good access to just high quality food.
Right.
And then um, moved to Arizona for a bit in the summer, just outside of Flagstaff, and Flagstaff has just about everything that you can think of: Whole Foods, Sprouts, and
Yeah.
just like the overall grocery stores there had much better stuff. So that really helped. And then moving down to Texas, there's definitely better access to better quality food down here. And just like an hour and a half up the road is uh, major city with everything up there too. So that's
Right.
really helpful.
So we talked about food. We talked about whole foods, like in the coaching process. We did like whole foods. We did nutrition. That's what we've been talking about, and fitness training. We got you on a really good workout plan, and then we did like a lot of meditation stuff, a lot of energy work. We did a lot of visualizations, right? And like, how did that affect you?
It just everything that we did in the breakthrough, it just kind of built on it. And as we say in fire, it just tagged and extended
Yeah,
and made everything much more manageable, I guess you could
right,
say,
right,
which
right.
is awesome.
That's so awesome. And I think I've been thinking about this for a while. Is I think the breakthrough session is like the major control lines, right? Like we're doing the big heavy lifting. We get like a line around what's going on for you, and the coaching is just that mop up. We just hit everything over and over until you're a completely different person. Like you actually took a new job. Like you changed what you've been doing. Like man, like the breakthrough like really did affect you.
Yeah. Um, Kind of going back to, I guess you could say I was lost in a sense. And after that breakthrough, it just kind of helped set that course to success. And, you know, I don't want to say chasing my dreams because I've been chasing my dreams since I got out of high school. And um, it just helped solidify that path
Yeah,
to
yeah.
success.
So I'm curious, like, would you recommend this to other firefighters out there?
10 out of 10. 10 out of 10, I would. Um, it's something that I hold pretty near and dear to my heart is the culture. And anyone that's like ever worked with me in the last few years will know like the overall general disdain I have towards like the firefighter culture. And what I think you're doing is what the culture needs to grow and to improve, and just that culture shift, kind of
Right, right.
following.
Yeah, yeah. And I think specifically you're talking about kind of the closed-mindedness of health and wellness and being,
Yeah,
accepting of everybody and all that kind of stuff. Is that what you're talking about?
yeah, that's exactly what I meant. Just in the past, it's like we just beat ourselves into the ground, like preseason, right? Like preseason in the beginning of the season, and we just beat ourselves into the ground. Super hard workouts, like completely unnecessary, if you ask me. A lot of them, but some of them are pretty good. And I think what I've kind of been seeing more recently too is a lot more thought going into what we're doing for like our PTs and stuff. And it's not just, well, we're going to go on a 10-mile run. It's we're going to do 3 miles. We're going to do some yoga. We're going to do a lot of good stretching. We're going to mix in some weights and trying to just build a better overall foundation, you know?
Nice. Yeah, right. And I think the culture shift you're talking about, it's not just the PT, it's the mindset stuff, right?
Yeah.
And I'm curious for you, Dave, like how has your leadership, your mindset, your peak performance, like all those things, how has that stuff changed after working with Mountain Mind Tricks?
A lot more focused. Um, a lot. It's just I felt it to be a lot easier to just make those decisions when it's time to go. When it's that go time,
Yeah,
and we have like a decision forced upon us almost, a go no go,
right.
and I felt that it's that process of making that decision has just been a lot quicker. It's been a lot easier for me to do, and really just dug pretty deep within myself and um, kind of just figured out who I want to be as a leader and what I'm looking for in building that team and
Yeah.
trying to put those pieces of the puzzle together so
Right.
we can hit the ground running.
Right. And I think we've talked about that so much in the coaching sessions. Like, let's build that wolf pack, right? Like we
Yeah,
always, from where we came from, it's like our crew was a wolf pack. We were together, we were a team at such a high level. It was like I still am surprised about how high functioning that engine was. I mean, we could have people like I just felt like I was so connected that I know exactly what the people out there on the line are doing, putting out hose. Like I can tell, oh, they need a reducer. I don't know why. I just knew that. I would grab it. They actually needed it. Like there's like almost this super cognitive functioning that would happen. And that's the peak performance that I think is so possible, right?
yeah. The conscious becomes the unconscious, if that makes sense. Does
Right,
it?
right.
Or does it
Yeah.
not make sense at
No,
all?
totally. Because we're building that wolf pack, but we're also training our guys as a leader. You're a really big leader now, and it's like you're training your guys in a way that's all of that training is going to become subconscious. That just like our old engine, we'd get out of the truck, and every single person knew exactly what they were doing from this time that boot hit the ground. Right.
Exactly. And that's the culture. That's the culture that I'm trying to bring to this organization, right? I got two dozers and a type 3 with 5 people that I need to supervise, and 4 of them have no experience at all.
That's so
So
awesome.
it's a big responsibility. Like if anyone has like no idea of like trying to manage that kind of stuff, each 3 of those pieces of equipment usually is something that is has its own crew too. Does that make
Right.
sense?
Right. Right.
And I'm trying to build 5 people to be proficient using both the dozer and the engine, and also um, being able to go out on our hand crew,
Yeah.
go bust out hand crew stuff and fuels work.
Yeah.
So
That's an amazing program.
yeah,
So I just want to kind of want to circle around here and like overall, like how has this whole program affected you, your leadership, your like how you're performing in your new position, and like yeah, tell us more.
it felt like working with you. If I hadn't have worked with you, I would have hit the ground and just floundered, right? But
Yeah.
like I felt like when I got here, I had a good baseline with myself already built. I didn't need to work on me quite as much as I did before. And I felt like I've just hit the ground here and it just took off.
Dude, that's so awesome.
Did, did,
That's
did that answer your question? I can go into more detail into more of that stuff.
No, I think that's really good, and I think that's a lot of the big pillar of the company is like, hey, leadership. Like, there's a million leaders out there that have been Marines and all that stuff, like Jocko and people like that. And it's like, I'm not going to give you a speech like that, but what I'm going to tell you is that there's an internal journey that is so much more important to being, like you said, I've done so much work on myself. Now I can be a leader for these people in such a better way. And I think that's what I call internal leadership, integrative leadership. Like it's a core pillar of what I'm doing for the firefighters, is like exactly what you just said there is the leadership first, like inside yourself, and then leading a crew, right?
Yeah. And what I think I've been telling myself this a lot lately is just remembering as a leader that my crew doesn't work for me. I work for them at the end of the day. Because without them, nothing gets done, right?
Yep.
You've never heard of a one-man hotshot crew. You've never heard of, a one-man engine, right?
Yep.
You have all those boots on the ground doing all the work, right? Working together. And you have, it's either one piece of overhead or two or three, but all that overhead is working together,
Right.
And supporting that crew in any way that they can. Our old captain used to say, like, the three most important things are feeding your people, paying your people, and sleeping your people. I think he used to say something like that.
Yeah. Yep. That's
And
for sure.
I've taken that pretty near and dear to heart too, and that just goes back to, your crew. You work for your crew at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Because if they're not high performing, then it's just dysfunction.
Right. And oh man, thank you so much, Dave, for sharing. Like, is there any other questions that you want me to talk about or ask, or is there anybody out there that wants to know more?
And I'm sorry, I'm pretty new to this whole like interview thing, so yeah, if you feel like I didn't go into enough detail on something, like, feel free to try to rein me back in, and we can go more in depth on whatever you want.
All right. Well, how has okay, so the Facebook group I run is the leadership, peak performance, and mindset, right? And I think, how has those three pillars changed for you after working with me?
So all three work together, right?
Yeah.
You have to be a good leader, even if you're just getting into fire. You need to be able to lead up, right? That's something that we always say in the fire world. You got to be able to lead up.
Yep.
And if you're not working at peak performance, then you can't start leading up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So the peak performance, I think that's a huge topic, because for me, there's a lot of applications of peak performance, and maybe some people don't know what it is, but it's like that moment when you're on a saw, that's like the saw is an extension of your body, or you're giving a briefing, but you're really not. It's just coming out perfectly. Like when you get in that IC role, you're just in it. Like you're just doing it, right? That's peak performance. And so we got to train to make sure that peak performance is really at peak performance, or maybe we just think it is, right? And so to train that stuff, like you said earlier, the conscious becomes subconscious. Mm-hmm. So that peak performance, like, to me, one of the biggest things is that when we do the release work, the big breakthrough session, like that peak performance is just, it's on a whole different level. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. You can practice doing your briefings all you want. You can practice cutting all you want. But unless your mind is right, and I know we've talked about this, being in that flow state, you'll stumble over everything, and it doesn't, you just don't work at that 110%.
Right.
like you really should be.
Yeah.
You're firing on all cylinders. And I feel that after my breakthrough, it's been a lot easier to get to that 110%, like, in my mind. And now, like, giving briefings is like, it's just like talking,
Yeah.
This may seem awkward, but like, if I had to do a briefing, it'd be like, we have that checklist, right? And it just flows. Flows, man.
Right. Yeah, it's so important to just have that mindset, right? And I think that's the one pillar we haven't really hit on yet, is having that mindset to check in with yourself, to have that growth mindset of like, hey, how can I be better? How can I grow? How can I keep learning in every single moment? And I know we talk about that a lot in fire, but it's like that growth mindset is so critical. And would you say that that changed for you after the breakthrough?
Yeah, I don't know if I felt stuck before that or if I didn't really have a growth mindset, but it definitely like did a 180 for me, right? And I felt open to to learning and to just growing,
Right.
and it just felt easier. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, absolutely. So the other question I got for you, Dave, is we all know that there's like this huge mental health crisis happening, and I think the winter right now, starting right now, and going into 2021, like this winter specifically, after this season, is going to be, it's not going to be good for a lot of people out there, right? Can we agree on that? That the mental health is going to get worse this winter. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, and I'm curious on like how beneficial was this process for your personal health and for you, like your personal mental health and being a firefighter.
Setting me up for success in the off season. I'm not in an off season right now. We're actually our what our predictive services just kicked out is this next month will be like in critical fire danger almost every day.
Right.
So, but that's just here. But in most places out west, we're getting snow and it's cold
Yeah.
and rainy. So that's the time that I feel we have that 2 weeks after fire season where it's okay to decompress, right? Go have that fun for that 2 weeks, but then after that and during that, check in with with yourself as a person and check in with your other crew members too, right?
Yeah.
They say that it's what like a silent struggle,
Yeah.
something like that, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And as leaders, we need to take it upon ourselves to reach out and just check in with with either both the crew that we just last worked with and you know any of your past coworkers too, because
Yeah.
their leader might not be checking in on them and they might not have anyone checking in on them.
Yeah.
And
And
most maybe not most, but a lot of people that I've worked with migrate back to the east, right?
yeah.
And they're stuck out there alone, right?
Yep.
And trying to explain to people out east what we do is not always super easy, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know that can be tough. That was tough for me back when I started, was that transition out of fire season and transitioning back into that home life.
Yeah. It's a critical time period, and it's right now for a lot of people, and
Yeah.
I don't know if people realize, and there's a lot of research that's like starting right now because there's zero research, but as far as the statistics that we do know is that there's like 50% of wildland firefighters that die by suicide. And that is unacceptable to me. Like we really got to like talk about mental health. Like it's not just city fire anymore. It's here, it's us, it's our crews, it's all the losses we had this year. It's a big deal for everybody in the wildland fire community. And so it's just my mission, man. I can't tell you how passionate I am about helping people with
Yeah.
this stuff.
50% is completely unacceptable. There shouldn't even be one,
Hmm.
right? And
Yeah.
I, I don't know if it's, I don't know who is failing us or where we're failing as an organization, but something needs to be done about that, because one life is just too many, right?
Yeah.
And I know we've talked about this, and I'm seeing a couple more things come out on it, like people within the community reaching out to, our legislators and saying, hey, we need help, right?
Mm-hmm.
You guys are failing us, right?
Yep.
And trying to do this, trying to have this conversation at a PG level is not very easy for me, because I'm right there with you. It's something that I'm getting more and more passionate about, right?
Yeah.
And to me, it just blows my mind that we can be worked to death for 6 months out of the year. And essentially after that 6 months, the agency, I'm not blaming any one agency, because it's as a whole, right? After that 6 months or so, they wipe their hands and, it can't cancel our benefits, right?
Yep.
And it's just
there's
not good.
Yeah, there's a lot of work to be done. There's a lot of ground to cover with all that stuff of the retirement plans, the wildland firefighter designation, the health benefits are pretty good in the federal side. And there's so much more like that. I know everybody I've talked to that's gone through the EAP stuff is like, yeah, you get 3 sessions with a therapist for free, and the therapist has no idea what firefighting is. It's so uncomfortable. It's like, and people are scared, like maybe their bosses are going to find out. Like, that's why I was like, you know what? I got to go private. I got to go industry, because once you go into that agency EAP realm, it's kind of, it's an unknown. It could come back to you in a way. To me, it's possible. I don't know that for a fact, but I think it's possible.
It's basically what the military does, right?
I don't know that for sure. I don't know that.
When you go talk to someone, right?
Mm-hmm.
You tell them your struggles, unless they have been there in those struggles, or they have an idea like what we do.
Yeah.
There's really like you said, it's just uncomfortable, and they really don't quite understand our struggles, right?
Yeah.
That's why we just need more. We need more people like you, right?
Thank you.
I don't know if completely transition out of fire, but maybe get some more training, or we train to death in this agency, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's something that we can work on as a whole. Is like, when you get laid off, cut the crap with laying people off. Maybe just have some people working part-time, right?
Yeah, right.
And working with those that are struggling.
Right. So
someone who understands what we go through.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And, I was watching a documentary recently, and gosh, I can't remember the name of it. It's there's an ex-hotshot soup that just, he resigned to take a new position. I'm kind of about this stuff we're talking about. And in that video, he straight up says, I don't think the agencies realize what they're putting people through. Like, they have no idea what Like, and I don't know if a lot of wildland firefighters truly understand what like going through a hard fire season really does. Like, it is a big deal. And I'm curious, Dave, on for you, like having me as a coach, as a health practitioner, like how, like with the fire experience, like how did that change that for you? Like, was it way better to have that like fire experience in your practitioner?
Absolutely. Because I wouldn't have felt comfortable sharing a lot of this stuff with you. And I felt like we could talk on a peer level, right?
Right.
But I just wouldn't have been comfortable with going into, some random person's office and spilling everything,
Right.
right? Because they don't understand. Like I keep saying, like you say, the struggles is not just it's not just the stuff that we see and that we do at work. It's the stuff that comes home with us afterwards, right?
Yeah, yeah, and I think it's not just the mental images or the hardcore emotions from the loss at work. If something really crazy happens, it's not even that. It's the like that stuff, of course, adds up, but it's the being away from your spouse for 6 months, being away from your kids, being missing every single wedding of your entire adult life, like
Yeah,
all those things. They really do. It is like a micro trauma, is what we say
yeah,
in the mental
absolutely.
health field. Is that it's like all this stuff just builds up and builds up, and for me, like my 10th season, I don't know what it is. It just like 10th year was just like all that stuff just hit me like boom, like it just added up. And I think that like 10 years in, it's like really we got to start looking at mental health because it's real, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, man, I've missed weddings, I've missed funerals, I've missed graduations, and that's just like the big three thing that they talk about, right?
Yeah.
But then also it's just that time away from your family. And I don't know if anyone has an answer to truly make this better.
Yeah.
'Cause I know I don't.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I mean, the question is, would you say the breakthrough session like prepares you better for that stuff?
yes, yes, absolutely. Um, it sets you with that solid foundation of being ready to transition out of fire season and makes it easier to go home to your family. Does that make
Right.
sense?
Absolutely. And for people watching or listening, like I mean, what we're talking about the breakthrough session is we've cleared the whole past of negative emotions, like anger, like all the way from the first time you ever felt angry to right now, it's gone. Anger, sadness, fear, hurt, guilt, anxiety, any big other emotions that I'm not naming, we release that too, right? And so
Yeah.
when we're out on fires, like something happens, we have a close call, all what is happening is that emotion that just got evoked by that close call, that tree just almost fell on your crewmate, right? That emotion that just got triggered, it just lit up your entire timeline. It just lit up everything. And so now that emotion is just like times 100, where after the breakthrough session, that emotion is like, yeah, you should be upset.
Yes.
You should be altered in that moment, but you're
It's
not
not
gonna.
it's not for me at least it's not lasting, right?
Yeah.
Like I think that's something that, we go over is it's okay to have this stuff. It's okay to have these negative feelings and emotions. But at least with me, after my breakthrough, like yeah, I still have all those feelings, but I feel that they don't last as long, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
And that it's easier to get that mindset switch of, oh, this is temporary, you
Yeah.
know?
Right. Right. And you know, through the process, we teach you how to reframe. I teach you how to take that obstacle and turn it into an opportunity. That's kind of, you know, I think in the breakthrough session, what I'm learning is that release moment is really when you get that lesson from the release, because you get a lesson from every event that we release, right? You get that lesson. And I think it's just a reframe. It's a reframe that's so powerful that your whole body is like, oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
That's literally, you can go from the most angriest situation in your life to like, huh, yeah, that's not that bad, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. And
Um,
I've felt that after working with you, you know, I, I just said it, but it would linger before and just eat away at you. But then after like learning how to like reframe stuff, it's instead of sitting on a negative feeling or something for a week, right?
yeah,
It's maybe a day at the most, and then it's like, oh well, it's really not that big of a deal.
right, right. So total game changer for you. Would you agree?
Absolutely,
Yeah,
100%. I would definitely recommend mountain mind tricks to anybody. And this is it. I really feel that just about every single one of us needs something like this
yeah. And
in the fire community. Because personally, I struggle to relate to people that work a 9 to 5, right?
right,
Because their issues, oh, I lost my scissors today. To them, that's like, that's the end of the world, right? Someone stole my stapler.
right, right.
But then, like, having to explain to them, like, oh, yeah, like, I almost got hit by a tree today. You know, like, I almost died, right? I feel like it's, I don't know.
Yeah. No, there's you're onto something there, Dave, and that is that we do experience a lot more trauma. And you know, the 9 to 5ers may not have the trauma in day-to-day life, but sometimes people have childhood trauma that is really hardcore. And then, but the firefighters, we have trauma literally every shift. It could be
Yeah.
tiny, it could be big.
Yeah. And I feel like working with you, working through that trauma is, like you said, it's a game changer.
Yeah. Yeah. And absolutely, man. I'm so like I just thank you so much for this interview because
Yeah.
I think people just the MER, the mental emotional release, the timeline therapy, the breakthrough session, whatever you want to call it, um, it's foreign to people. It's alternative therapy. It's alternative mental health care, and that's exactly what I am. I'm an alternative mental health professional, and so I'm a do with, you know, I guide you through this process. And if you're with a therapist, it's like I'm working with your therapist as well to make sure we're all on the same page, right? It's not like
Yeah.
it's a totally different approach than traditional therapy and just like alternative healthcare, like acupuncture, massage, chiropractic. It's different. Like
Body.
there's no medication. It's all just it's a whole body transformation.
Yeah.
And to me, I think I was sitting there in class learning about these things, and it just hit me like a lightning bolt. Like I have to bring this to the wildland fire community because we need this so bad right now.
Hmm. Absolutely. You know, and like in the past, I've gone to talk to counselors or therapists or whatever, and I feel like nothing was done for me. I left feeling like I did before, right?
Mm-hmm.
And working with you, hashing out all that stuff in, you know, an hour or a few hours, like, has made a lasting impact.
Yeah.
And
And
I'm still carrying through everything that I've learned, you know?
yeah. And so your breakthrough was what in May this
I think
year?
so.
So what
Yeah.
is that? I mean, that's more than 6 months at this point, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, and you're still having this long lasting effect. And, you know, in the case studies, it shows like depression just doesn't come back. anxiety, like it just doesn't come back. It's incredible. It's like, it's a very powerful modality.
Yeah. You know, I felt those two emotions after, but like I said, man, instead of having it being this, you know, lasting event, you could say,
Yeah.
it's been a few hours a day, and then it's right back to right on that, you know, that path to success.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And I think that's a big piece of the breakthrough as well. And the coaching is that, yes, we do the release work. The next is we build you a compelling future. We build that SMART goal. We build that action plan. So you walk away with this like super compelling goal and action plan that it's just like you're going to be running towards your future, right?
I accomplished what I wanted to. I had a timeline in my mind that I wanted to be in the position that I am within 5 years or whatever, and I did it in less than a year. I did it in like 5 months, right?
That is right there. The
That's
power.
a testament to you, man.
Yeah, that right
you.
there. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And that's the breakthrough session. I mean, holy crap. After mine, it's just been rocking and rolling every day, man. You know, it's amazing. And every client I've worked with, everybody I've seen or know personally that's gone through a breakthrough session, is just like, absolutely, it's you before the breakthrough session, and after, it's like your whole life, night and day, 100%.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah. Dude, so powerful. I'm so glad you came on to like share your story, because it really is important for people to know out there, like, you don't have to suffer in silence. There's a solution right here. Like, seriously, like, here's Dave right here proving it to you. And
you're one of us.
That's right, man. I was in fire for 14 years, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, I got the boots on the ground. I know your language.
Yeah. And I feel like everything, you know, that we talk about, we can relate back to the job that we do. Mm-hmm. And it's like similar terminology, I guess you could say.
Right.
And it works. It works.
Right. Well, man, is there like anything else you want to talk about? Anything else you want to tell people about your experience?
Changed my life, helped me get back on track and really chase my goals, chase my dreams.
Dude, I like every day, I'm so proud of you as a coach. Like, dude, just crushing life. So thank you so much for coming on here. And seriously, it's such a blessing to have you as a client. And I love you, and thank you so much. And, yeah. And we'll, for everybody watching, like, go check out my website, mountainmindtricks.com, and like, let's just do a discovery session. Let's just talk about what this is and what you need help with. And I just appreciate all of your time watching, listening, and you, Dave, thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, just reach out, you know. I can't say that, but you can talk to Tom. Like I keep saying, he knows the struggles that we go through, and he understands, and he listens, and there's action on top of that listening, right? And I'm proof of it.
Yeah.
I'm proof that, you know, you'll work through those struggles with Tom, and it makes sense and it works. So reach out to Tom. He's going to help you.
Thank you, man. So much value to everybody watching, and I really appreciate it. And yeah, we're going to book you on the podcast, and we're just going to have an amazing conversation about whatever you want, man. I can't wait. And I can't wait to see how your fire career just freaking explodes, man. You're already crushing it. I'm so excited for you. And thank you, everybody, for watching. All right.
Thank you so much.
Bye, everybody.